Just stop. Just stop. I'm watching the Summer League game right now. It was a replay from last night. They were talking about Boogie. For those who don't know who Boogie is, DeMarcus Cousins signing with the Great Warriors. And, well, we know his history. We know this, that, and the other. Let's look at the grand scheme of things. We know the Sacramento Kings' history. I think Boogie has had a new coach every year he's been in the league. And he hasn't torn up teams. He hasn't done teams like T.O. has done every team he stopped at, with the exception of Buffalo, I believe, and maybe Cincinnati, wherever else he stopped. But you never heard him say he was a detriment to the team. When he got traded away from Sacramento, he was emotional because he enjoyed the city. He enjoyed work, giving back to the community. See, people sweep that under the rug because he gets technical fouls. He's never ran you don't hear about him being late. I don't think you've ever seen him throw a hissy fit on the sideline with a coach. But you got coaches who come in my opinion, with a preconceived notion of DeMarcus Cousins. Some of it is fair, some of it is not. But a good coach can come in and say, okay, let me get to know this kid first. And then you evaluate from that moment on. And I hear people say, Calipari said this, that, and the other. Calipari doesn't mind going back and forth with his players. Same thing with Izzo. But I mentioned Izzo because it takes me to Draymond. We see Draymond on the court yelling at the referees. But then you hear Mark Jackson and those guys on the sideline, he can't just be talking to him like that, cussing at him. Look here, when it comes to Draymond Green, one, you know he's very emotional. Some people might think he's dirty, this, that, and the third. But you never heard one player or one coach or one source say, I don't like Draymond, he's this, that, and the other. He's not a good teammate. You never heard that. You've never heard that. So don't let the commentators, the media, and those guys paint a picture of what they think they see and what they think they know. Go talk to a teammate. Anthony Davis stated, although I think I don't want to say fool's gold, wishful thinking, that they could make a major run in the NBA playoffs. And they could have, but I just don't think they had enough firepower to beat the Warriors. Cousins or not. But it would have been a very competitive series because they had the athleticism with their big men to compete with the Warriors. But I just don't think it's right that they're doing this to Boogie. Like, some of this is self-inflicted, but for a guy to say, I don't know if the Warriors, it's a big risk. No, it's not. You got a guy who stated that no one called him. And from what I've heard, what Boogie said, he called the Warriors. If you hear that noise in the background, it's fireworks. Ain't nobody ain't going on over here. But he called the Warriors. Took a mid-level exception. And if my memory serves me correctly, a few years ago, Boogie got a $175 million extension for 5 or 6 years. Now, you can say, well, he made this money, so he good. But you don't understand. That can be a blow to your ego. When no one has called you and your response is, okay, I'm going to go rehabilitate my image. I don't think he needs to do that. I think he needs to be DeMarcus Cousins. Had a partner say, he feels like Boogie is lying. That's nothing to lie about. And he said he thinks he's doing it because he wants to rehabilitate his image. And then something break. Well, the Pelicans said they offered him $40 million extension for 2 years. I don't believe the Pelicans. And you say, why would the Pelicans stop? Because they let Boogie Cousins and Rajon Rondo leave New Orleans. That's why they would come up with something like that. They're coming off the best season in a long time as far as playoffs go and so on. And although Boogie didn't play, I watched him on that sideline cheering his team on. We know what Rondo did. That's why I'm excited about him being in LA. If nothing else, I think he can teach Lonzo Ball a lot because Lonzo Ball has a great eye for basketball. He has a great IQ. Can't shoot. And somebody will say, well, he can't shoot. Neither can Rondo. Lonzo Ball averaged 11.7 rebounds, 7 assists as a rookie. Those aren't terrible numbers. And I believe his three-point percentage this year was higher than what Kidd's was. And then, but still, those are Mavericks fans with the Jason Kidd, this, that, and third. And I get, I'm not comparing him to the Hall of Fame, but I'm just saying people take a small sample size and want to make somebody's whole career out of that, and that's just not fair. And last but not least, the Dallas-Fort Worth media. And I'm going to be very cautious of what I say because, hey, I might be working with those gentlemen one day. But they need someone who's impartial. They were talking about how the NBA, everybody, these super teams, and this all of a sudden, and the local fans, they're not going to want to watch it. And their reason is because teams like Golden State, you don't want to watch basketball because Golden State front office had the knowledge to put together a great team. Everybody has the same salary cap restrictions. Everybody. But this is what got me. The Mavericks fans will probably watch because they have the new foreigner. Their words, not mine. They said his name. I can't think of his name, so forgive me. But they'll want to watch him. So I could take that two ways. Also, because you got a foreign on your team, we're going to check that out. We don't like the other players. Yeah, and y'all can read into that however you want to. But we don't want necessarily to watch them because they're all spoiled anyway. But we got this new foreigner that's coming to town. Can't wait to watch him play. And I understand. But those are casual fans. Hardcore NBA fans, they want to watch somebody play against Golden State because you want to hit the bully in the mouth. And you probably think they're bullies. I don't think they're bullies. Because, like I just said, they have the same salary cap restrictions that everybody else has. They manage it, and they don't mind paying the luxury tax. If I'm in the finals every year for the last 3-4 years, I'll pay a luxury tax. They're building a new arena out there in San Francisco. I'll pay the luxury tax. I've heard people say, do you think Adam Silver's a step in? And do what? This is not, David Stern has spoiled a lot of these people. He spoiled a lot of these people. A few years back, the NBA owned the New Orleans, they're the Pelicans now. The Lakers traded for Chris Paul. They didn't think that the trade that the Lakers presented and that was agreed to was compensation enough to New Orleans. And Mark Cuban and people like Mark Cuban and other owners, they were real happy because they felt like the Lakers were just, every time you look up, the Lakers are getting a free somebody new, this, that, and the other. Didn't nobody sneeze when the Clippers got them, though. Didn't say a word. With all that being said, just stop it. Get mad at your front office. Don't hate on Golden State. And don't speak disparagingly. I don't even think I said that word right, but you see where I was going. Don't speak against people like DeMarcus Cousins. I don't think he's been suspended for technical fouls in the season. But I've heard people say he's a loose cannon. He's clinical. This is all local. And is it because he didn't come sign that? I guarantee you, had DeMarcus Cousins called the Mavericks and they gave him that mid-level exception, y'all be okay. See, we putting things together for Dirk, his last run. With all that being said, I hope you guys had a happy 4th of July. I did some ribs, chicken, some lovely steaks. It's a very tasty treat. I'm going to go in and have me the rest of my beer and get away from this window. I don't trust these people out with these firecrackers. It ain't legal for a reason, player. Ask John Pierre Paul. Love y'all. Holla.